So, hi everyone. I hope you're ready for today's portion of hints and tips that will help you reach your goal as fast as you can and guarantee progress in your target language. There are some repeated mistakes that people do, and today we were going to go through them together and make sure that you don't fall in the same mistakes that most language learners do. These mistakes will definitely be an obstacle in your way when you're trying to achieve fluency, and avoiding them is going to be extremely helpful. It will save you a lot of time, it will save you a lot of effort, so please pay close attention. The first problem people have is trying to copy from their native language. You've been speaking the same language for, I don't know, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, so it's pretty obvious, it's pretty logical that you think in this language, that your mind is programmed in this language. But the thing is that not all people speak in the same way. There's a lot of research on the internet on how the language influences our mentality, our ideologies, our way of life and thinking. So it's a very important point to understand that different languages are different from each other, and you don't need to copy the same style, the same phrases, the same idioms. Every language has its own natural way of speaking that doesn't necessarily correspond to the way you speak or to the way you perceive other people's speech. So please get this idea. It's very important. Languages are different, and you should take the language as it is, accept it as it is. The next mistake is direct translation, which is very related to the first point we had. People translate sentences, idioms, expressions, phrasal verbs, anything possible from their main language to the target language, and it doesn't always sound natural, doesn't always sound normal. It could be absolutely okay for you, but for other people, they don't perceive it normally. They don't really understand what you're saying, and it could result in some awkward situation. So when you're speaking a language, try to think in the target language and try to understand how it is naturally spoken. The best way to achieve this, of course, is to learn it properly with a teacher, or maybe to watch a lot of films, YouTube videos, listen to how native speakers use the language and copy from them, not from your own language. So no need for direct translation. Obvious mistake. The next big mistake is trying to... In the lesson that we had about pronunciation, we spoke about overdoing the accent. So some people try to overdo the vocabulary. I will sound intellectual if I use very difficult words, complex words. And where is my source? Obviously, it's Google Translate. Huge mistake. Translators usually recommend strange words, not very common, not very natural, could be used in very specific contexts like scientific research or some specific literature. Some professor in Harvard could use them, but not how people speak on the street. So Google is not a good reference. Google is not a teacher. And dictionaries have tens of different synonyms to each word that are not the least bit useful. Use simple words. Simplify your speech unless you're 100% confident of the language that you're using. You've heard native speakers use it many times, you've seen it in context, you're comfortable with the language, and in that way you can use it. Otherwise, don't overdo the vocabulary. It will result in complex expressions that are not natural, and it will have the opposite effect on your fluency. The next point, of course, is the language barrier and the fear of making mistakes. Many people are afraid of speaking incorrectly, pronouncing incorrectly, making grammar mistakes. Lose the fear, speak, be outgoing, be confident, and as long as you're thinking about accuracy and quality too much, you will not be able to master a language. It will definitely lead to low speed, and it's not effective. So just forget about it. It's not good. Our next point here is overdoing the accent. We also discussed this point in our pronunciation lesson. Don't try to overdo the accent. It's not good. Just speak naturally. As long as you're understood, as long as you're clear, everything should be okay. So no need to exaggerate the way you're pronouncing. Trying to speak as the Queen does, not a good idea. The next point here is the progress pyramid and giving up. The progress pyramid is basically that you feel your progress very fast in the beginning. In the first month or two, when you're elementary getting to pre-intermediate, it's quite enjoyable. You see fast progress, you see new words, new grammar, you feel yourself improving, and it boosts your confidence. But then after a year or two, when you reach upper intermediate and advanced, you don't see much more progress. I'm not much faster, I don't use extreme expressions. And I want you to think of progress as a pyramid, but upside down. At the beginning, you don't have many pieces of information, so you progress fast, you learn a lot, and then you have in your mind a whole language, thousands of words, grammatical rules, and fluent expressions, and it's pretty normal for you to feel less progress and slower progress, because actually your biggest progress at the point is maintaining the knowledge that you actually have. You have already learned a language, you can communicate in it effectively, so don't think that you will keep progressing at the same speed, and don't get disappointed if you feel slower progress. When you're already upper intermediate and advanced, your main task is to maintain the knowledge that you have and not lose it. Of course, there is always margin for improvement, but it will definitely get slower the more you know a language. So that's fine, accept it and cope with it, it's okay. It's nothing wrong with you. The next point is worrying about spelling. Many people think that not being able to write the words effectively is a big problem. Actually, it's not. Now we live in a world of technology, gadgets, and 100% of email platforms, chat platforms, different ways of writing on the internet have the autocorrect option. Use it. Of course, it's good to be able at least to write something close to the right word, but if you make a mistake with one letter, it's okay. The autocorrect will help you. So if you have some time to invest in the language, put it in something necessary, something really useful, as grammar, speaking. Spelling is not a priority, especially with all the new gadgets that could help us. Our next point is noting your mistakes. If you're learning a language, you have to note your mistakes. You have to take notes, write things down, and keep reading. Repeating the same mistakes over and over, especially if some teacher brings it to your attention, is not good. Note everything down and try not to do the same mistake again. There is no shortcut to mastering a language in a year or a month, so take your time with the language, it's okay. The biggest mistake people make is that they expect extremely fast progress. I'm putting money, I'm putting effort, so why am I not seeing progress? The answer is that it's okay, it's acceptable not to see extremely fast progress. It's fine, take it slow, and things will come eventually. It's a process and it takes years, so it's fine. The last big mistake people make is not doing the homework. I would say that 30% of the hard work that you have to do is in the class, and 70% is outside the class. The key is self-study, the key is repetition, reading words, doing grammar exercises, and working alone at home. Self-study is the key. Homework is the key. You have to work hard, not only in the lesson, but outside the lesson as well. So homework, it's a critical point, please don't forget this one. The homework that we have for today's video is to avoid making these mistakes and change your mentality, change your approach, keep every single point of these in mind, don't fall in these mistakes when learning, and I guarantee you that you will definitely reach faster progress. Best of luck.